Well, welcome, church family, to your Thursday update. Just a few announcements here before we do a brief meditation on what it means to lament, to prepare ourselves for Sunday worship. So the first announcement I have for you is a reminder that our annual meeting is September 27 at 7 p.m. That's Sunday, September 27 at 7 p.m. We welcome anyone who calls High River Alliance Church their home church to join us for that meeting. Also, the annual report and all the report of the nominating committee, all those things will be posted and available for you to take on Sunday. And so you'll have that made available to you, either on your chairs or the ushers will have some. And for those of you who aren't able to attend, or there's various reasons why you won't be there on Sunday, you'll be able to email the church info@highriverchurch.com. You can request a PDF copy. We normally would send it out through our weekly email, but we're not. I don't believe we're going to do that this year because our email goes much broader than our immediate church community, and so we just want to make sure that you have it if you need it. So please email the church if you'd like a copy of it, or if you'd like it mailed to you. The next announcement I want to make is we're here in the clothing room, in the Northview room at High River Alliance, at our church here. Now, this is an initiative that we started a number of years ago, but last December we started collecting clothes, and the purpose of this was twofold. One was for our own family. We have a lot of young families in our church, and so we wanted it. Kids grow out of clothes very quickly, and often there's no damage to them because they grow out so quickly. Sometimes there is, of course, but the clothes that we want are the ones that are in good working condition. And so you can come in and get some clothes and exchange what you had and get something new, and it's just a way of us working together as a community. But then we also wanted it to serve our community as a whole. There are many children in our community who don't have proper clothing, specifically winter clothing. And of course we have a school right beside us as well. And so there's many families that we might be able to help and reach out to. And so we began this clothing room as a way of providing for our community and building bridges with our community. And so we started this and we collected clothes, and many of you participated and brought it in. And recently it's really taken off. We've had a lot of people come in. Since the fall has begun, I think we had 6 or so in the last couple of weeks. And so this is being well utilized now by our community. But we're also discovering that we don't have enough. So if there's any more that you'd like to give, we certainly encourage that. But we don't quite have enough, and I don't know that we can ever reach that capacity that we can. I don't know that we can ever reach the need as people come in. And so what we've done is we've actually worked out a deal with Selective Seconds, where you in town here, where you can bring your used clothing and other things and sell them on consignment and mention it that it's for High River Alliance Church. When they sell it, they'll take that money and they'll put it in an account. And when a family comes in and they're looking for boots, and everybody's got boots except for one of the kids, then we can send them over to Selective Seconds. They can use the money that's on that account, and they can purchase boots there for their family, for the one who didn't have it. Also, we're noticing that many mothers and fathers are coming in as well, and so we want to be able to provide for them, but we don't have any men's clothes, for example, and we don't have many women's clothes. And so the idea then is that they can then go to Selective Seconds, and they can purchase that, again, using the money. It'd be free for them, but they can use the money that's been set aside for us from the donations or the items of consignment that you sold. We also have a benevolent fund which will contribute to some of that as well, as certainly if the needs are greater than what's in that account. So I just wanted to fill you on that initiative. Very excited about that, and I hope that you can bring some items to there and allow us to serve our community even more. And again, this is a great thing. They come into our church. If they don't have what they need, we send them elsewhere, but we get the opportunity to meet them, and our goal, of course, is to share the love of Christ with them, not just through giving them clothes, but also through proclamation. And so we hope to build relationships with our community that Christ can be made known, and we can glorify Him. The next thing that we're going to move on now to the reflection for Sunday, and I just want to take a moment and consider what it means to lament. Lament is a practice, as a discipline that you see within the church history, within God's people, and a lot of the Psalms are Psalms of lament. And this Sunday we'll be doing Psalm 102, which is a Psalm of lament. I thought I would take a moment just to explain why lament happens among God's people. The reason why lament happens is because of this. Deuteronomy chapter 28. It says, "Now if you faithfully obey the Lord your God and are careful to follow all His commands that I'm giving you today, the Lord your God will put you far above all the nations of the earth. All these blessings will come and overtake you because you obey the Lord your God. And then, of course, it goes on to speak about the blessings of which God's people receive. Then it goes on to say in verse 15, it says, but if you do not obey the Lord your God by carefully following all his commands and statutes that I'm giving you today, all these curses will come to you and overtake you. And then, of course, it goes on to list the curses. And so, lament exists because suffering exists, and suffering exists because sin exists. But God uses that for his glory. As Hebrews chapter 12, verses 5 to 8 says, and you have forgotten the exhortation that addresses you as sons. It says, my son, do not take the Lord's discipline lightly, or lose heart when you are reproved by him. For the Lord disciplines the ones whom he loves, and punishes every son he receives. Endure suffering as discipline, as God is dealing with you as sons. For what son is there that a father does not discipline? But if you are without discipline, which you all receive, then you are illegitimate children and not sons. And so it's quite clear here that suffering, it says suffering, endure suffering as discipline. Right? God allows suffering to draw us near to himself. Now, I don't mean to say that if you're going through a season of suffering, that there is a specific sin that you've done that he is paying you back for. I don't mean that. What the scriptures mean is that because of sin, because of our desire to love what the world loves, or our inclination to love what the world loves, God allows suffering to draw us back to him. But how do we turn our sorrow, our suffering, our lament into rejoicing? Well, that's one of the great things about the Psalms of lament. The first thing is the foundation is lament exists because of the sins of God's people. Suffering exists because of sin. But that suffering is turned into joy when we focus on the person, the character, nature, and the holiness of God. Psalm 102 is down. It's depressing until you get to verse 12, and it says, but you, O Lord, are enthroned forever, and your frame endures all generations. You will rise up and have compassion on Zion, for it is time to show favor to her. The appointed time has come. And so lament exists to remind us that suffering exists because of our sin, but then also to turn us to the Lord who will exalt or have compassion on those who are his. And so to get out of our struggle, to turn our sorrow into joy, we lament. And that turning point is by focusing on the nature and character of God and his promises. So maybe you're in a prolonged season of lament, or maybe you have seasons of lament in the past. And I want you to think about how God is using that to draw near to him. And if you need to draw near to him today, remember his character, his holiness, his attributes. Focus on his glory, that he is the creator of all things. Focus on his sovereignty and his love and his mercy and compassion. And in doing that, you will find joy in your sorrow. As always, I love you and I'm praying for you. And God be with you till we meet again. Amen.